everyone, I'm Kaylee and welcome back to my channel, Dog-Eared Page. Today I'm coming at you with a book haul in July. If you've seen previous videos of mine, you'll know that I don't tend to buy a whole lot of books. I don't like to spend money, so I very rarely spend it on books. But I'm kind of growing my collection. I typically will probably buy one or two a month, so these won't be monthly. You probably see them every other month, maybe once a quarter. But this month I acquired several books that we're gonna get into, mostly because Prime Day had a deal that was spend 20 get $5 off. So I bought some books and then my mom bought some on her account for me. And then I acquired one from my dad who just gave it to me. So let's just get into it instead of continuing to talk about what I acquired. So first we're gonna go with the book that my dad actually gave me. He is a huge Stephen King fan. He was a Stephen King fan growing up when I was a kid, and my mom was a thriller. Like, she reads James Patterson and Dean Koontz and all those, you know, paperbacks that are at this point ghostwritten. But my dad, big Stephen King fan, so when he finds one he likes, he tends to either tell me about it or let me borrow it, and in this case he just gave it to me. And we've got Stephen King's Full Dark, No Stars, which is a 5 short story collection. He reads it when he's on the road, and I mean, it's a thick book. I don't know when I'll get to it. I've got a lot of Stephen King on my shelf I haven't read, and this is just to add to it. But free, so can't complain. Next and most recently, I acquired The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I have read it before. I do intend to reread it, which is why I picked it up. It's one of my favorite contemporaries, so I picked it up. If you don't know, it is a hate-to-love romance about two co-workers that hate each other in the beginning, and Lucy, the main character, starts to go on dates with a guy, and you start to realize that her coworker Josh, who seems like a stoic badass that doesn't like her, actually does like her. And you follow that development, and it's super good. Next I have got Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. I read this book in like January of 2016. It was like the first book I read that year, and it was my favorite book of 2016. It hit me out of nowhere, which is what I usually say about books that I go into blind and end up loving. It is a story told in 2 parts about a marriage that everybody in their lives envies because it seems so perfect and just electric, and then you kind of get a different angle of it in the second half, and it's surprising and it's heartwarming and it's heartbreaking. And if you haven't read it yet, but it's something you're looking to read, read it. Just read it. Okay, the next one is my favorite by far book that I acquired this month, and you'll see why in a second, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden, which, as you may know, is one of my favorite books ever, probably top 3. And what makes this one so special isn't just the fact that I finally acquired it after owning the sequel to it for so long, but that, let me get that page, so prepared. Katherine Arden signed it and personalized it for me, so I was so excited. A bookshop in Vermont, which is where she lives, is really cool about getting copies signed and or personalized if you want it. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in her, check out her Instagram, and you can find Vermont through her and get a copy yourself. Best fantasy I've read in forever. Ever. Next up, I've got The Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology by Leigh Bardugo. I read Six of Crows for the first time this month, and I fell in love with the story. I needed to own it, and I have to still read the second book, but to get the duology with the painted edges, red's my favorite color, I couldn't pass it up. This is what I bought for my Prime Day discount for myself, and I can't wait to get to this. It will probably be happening this month, maybe, possibly. Next up is the quartet of books that I had my mom purchase through her Prime account to get the discount on Prime Day. And if you watched my library haul video, I both checked out the audiobook and the physical copy of The Raven Boys, the first one, and decided I needed to own all 4 of them. And so I did. I got all 4. I don't think I can spread them out. Maybe I can. Oh my, I got tiny hands, I got tiny hands. But I'm really excited to dive in. The covers are just gorgeous. Actually, I really don't care for the first one, or really, I guess the second one. But this is a pretty cover. And this is a pretty cover. So yeah. And lastly, my last 2 books are V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic. I got the first 2 because I will be partaking in the read-along hosted by Common Spence. I will link him down below. You can join in. I know it's a little late to join in with the buddy read part of it, but you can always read along and join the live shows. We'll be reading A Darker Shade of Magic in August, so I'll get to that right after the Booktubathon, and then its sequel will happen in September, and then the final of the trilogy will happen in October. Did I mump those right? I did. So I got these 2, and I'll buy the 3rd one probably in another haul. But I figured I'm probably going to read them all anyway, even if I don't really care for them, so I picked up the first 2 right off the bat. Most of you know what it's about. I didn't really look into it. I've never read anything by Victoria Schwab, but I've always wanted to, and this tends to be the one I see the most, and she likened it to Harry Potter. If you like Harry Potter, you would like this trilogy, so hopefully that is the truth and I will enjoy this. But that's it. That is the end of my book haul. I believe that was 12 books in 1 month, which is unheard of for me and probably won't ever happen again. But thank you for being here and for seeing the books that I purchased. If you have read any of them or you intend to read any of them, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, link up on social media down below. Subscribe if you're new here. Like if you enjoyed the content of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thanks.